What's going on? We are back with a seventh episode of ESPN Wichita's 92.3 Preps. I am Jackson Schneider, and apologies for another slight delay in the release of this episode, but I promise it is for a great reason. We've been very busy over the last week or so here at the ESPN Wichita offices and doing a lot of great things for all of our shows and all of our programming, but you'll be especially happy with today's episode because it comes directly from one-on-one interviews live from Monster Energy Big 12 Football Media Days down in Frisco, Texas. Myself and Pat Strathman were down there in Frisco, got a couple of great interviews for this specific show, but we also visited with coaches and players from all across the Big 12, including, Colin Klein, Lance Leipold. We visited with 4 K-State Wildcats, 2 of which you'll hear on this show, of course, today. And then 5 Kansas Jayhawk players. We also visited with Willie Fritz, a former Pitt State Gorilla, and also the current head coach of the Houston Cougars, plus several other great interviews as well. You can check all of those out on our ESPN Wichita YouTube page. There's a playlist for Big 12 Media Days specifically. But, of course, you can watch our show here, 92.3 Preps, on YouTube, the video version. You can also check out our show on ESPNWichita.com or on the ESPN Wichita app. We're even finally up on Spotify. Really appreciate Gabe in our Kansas City office. He's a much more techie guy than myself. He made that happen after some tough work on his end, but really appreciate him making this show much more accessible to you all. So you can check out our show in a multitude of places, and we've got some great things still coming. But today, again, we're going to talk with a couple of our Big 12 Media Days guests in Wesley Fair and Avery Johnson. And we're also going to tell you some very exciting news as it regards to our ESPN Wichita Honorary ESPYs. We talked about it for weeks now. We've interviewed some of the finalists and the nominees. And today, we get to remind you of our winners. If you follow us on social media, you have already probably seen our lists of winners, which is awesome, but I'm going to remind you anyway because it is totally worth talking about. And we're very excited to have such a great list of people on this list: athletes in the high school ranks, coaches, and athletes in small college and Division I, all of those. So without further ado, let's tell you about them, okay? Our high school athletes of the year. We'll start with our female, and that is one we've had on this show already. Destiny Mays of the Wichita Heights Falcons girls basketball team. She has earned the honor of high school female athlete of the year after a standout junior season. She also just announced her commitment to Missouri Western State University to play basketball at the next level going into her senior year. That is so awesome. She is an incredible individual. And again, if you missed the interview we had with her a couple of weeks ago, highly encourage you to go back and check that out. But our male high school athlete of the year winner is Manny Myers of Mulvane, a guy that led multiple programs for the Wildcats to great success over the last year, even won a state baseball championship. We visited with his head coach in Steve Nelson a couple of weeks ago on the show as well, and he had nothing but great things to say about Manny Myers, and we'll visit with him in the very, very near future as well, so you can look forward to that. Our high school coach of the year is Tyler Gonzalez of Mays High School Wrestling. They won another state championship on the wrestling mats this past winter, even set a state scoring record in the process, had multiple great nominees from his program because they were so incredible on the mats, and just a total team. And this is one of my favorite categories because when you're talking about the team winner, the team of the year, there are so many great ones to choose from. We had so many state champions and state runners up and great seasons from this past year, but Mays High School Wrestling rose above the rest. And so it's fitting that Tyler Gonzalez is our coach of the year and the Mays wrestling team is our team of the year as well. And we're working on getting Coach Gonzalez for an interview as well on this show. And then, of course, our college winners as well. The small college female athlete of the year is someone that won our female high school athlete of the year a couple seasons ago, and that's Leah Henke. She is with the Washburn Ichabod soccer team. We'll work on getting an interview with her, and if it's not on this show, it'll be on any one of our regular shows on 92.3 FM as well. So we'll try to get them in as many places as possible to talk about some, again, amazing people. Our small college male athlete of the year is Cavante Baker of the Friends Falcons, quarterback who has helped set and break and set more and more records, win a KCAC championship, make a run in the NAIA football playoffs. He's a Wichita Heights alum as well. Very, very exciting stuff from him. I know we'll be hearing from him in the very near future as well. So congrats to him as well. And then our Division I winners, also very impressive. Kinsey Woody, Wichita State softball, our D1 female athlete of the year, was an all-conference player of the year, freshman of the year, all sorts of accolades for a player that was absolutely phenomenal for the Shockers this past season, coming up just short of an NCAA tournament bid, one of the first teams out when the field was released back a couple of weeks ago. But a huge piece to the Shocker softball puzzle, and we'll get to interview her in the near future as well. And then our male D1 athlete of the year is none other than Mr. Avery Johnson, the quarterback of the Kansas State Wildcats, a son of Wichita, a golden boy here in the state of Kansas. And I'm not just talking about his hair either, but we'll hear from him in just a few short minutes. Pat Strathman caught up with Avery down at Big 12 Football Media Days and had a great conversation with him. And so you've got a ton of great and very deserving winners. Again, thank you to our sponsors for making the Honorary ESPYS happen. We could not do it without their support. Our friends at Broadstroke, Prochaska Howell and Prochaska Law, You Build It Wichita, the Greater Wichita YMCA as well. Tons and tons. Oh, Eaton Roofing. Almost forgot Eaton Roofing. My apologies, but tons of great sponsors to help us do this because, again, we get them very cool trophies. The actual SB, like the glass looking bulb with the SB on it. It's so cool. They help us, get all of that taken care of and make sure that we can do all the cool things that we do with our winners, our interviews, and all the publicizing of it all. It's such a cool thing. And so we are so grateful to them. We're also very grateful to you, our listeners, our voters, for making this happen. Because again, the nominations came from you, our listeners, and we had hundreds of very worthy, very, very impressive nominees from high school to college, everything, every category. There were so many. It was very hard for us to then whittle down that list to our finalists. And we finally got it down to like a good, solid list. Like, okay, these are the ones we want to go with. And then we turned it back to you, our listeners and our voters. And you more than answered the call on that one. And thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of votes submitted. And we had some really close races and a couple of them separated by just a few votes. But at the very, very end, we couldn't go wrong with our winners. Great ones across the board, like we just talked about. So very, very thankful for all of your support in making this happen. It's one of the cooler things that we do as a station. We are committed to Wichita. We want to tell the stories of Wichita, and you all help us do that by providing the nominees and the votes and giving that voice to us to kind of go and again, tell those stories. So really, really appreciate your support in that as well. But enough of that, enough of me talking and gushing about this. We've got great interviews to get to today. We'll start with Wesley Fair, a former Wichita Collegiate Spartan and a leader on the Kansas State defense as a safety and defensive back. Great kid. So much enjoyed talking with him at Media Day and getting to kind of hear a little bit of his story and what he wants to do beyond football. He wants to impact people and to lead and do all sorts of things. And I think it is such a cool listen to visit with Wesley Fair. And he's kind of a guy that's really up and coming. He even had a defensive touchdown last season. I talked to him a little bit about that, some fun stuff there with what maybe happened after that play that you might appreciate as well. And then obviously Avery Johnson, Pat Strathman, again, did a great job talking to Avery about, everything between the rise of him over the last several years to last year, maybe missing the mark a little bit in terms of wins and losses at K-State, what's to come in the future with Colin Klein now taking over as head coach at K-State. Great interview from him as well. So let's get to that here on our show. And again, thank you to our great sponsors of 92.3 Preps, Commerce Bank, and Advanced Orthopedics Associates, or AOA now as well. So cool to have people seeing the work that we're putting in here, what we're building, and having people hop on board to be a part of this. So really appreciate their support as well. But we'll take our first break, and when we come back, we'll have Wesley Fair and Avery Johnson here on 92.3 Preps. Welcome back to ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM, live at Big 12 Football Media Days here in Frisco, Texas. Joined now by a Wichitan himself, former collegiate Spartan as well, in Wesley Fair, playing for the Kansas State Wildcats, of course. Wesley, take us through the day, like early wake up to get out here this morning. I know that wasn't easy on me, man. I like my sleep, but you guys were here earlier than us.
Yeah, I was stressing, so we flew all the way from Manhattan today. So this morning, so we had to leave the airport at 5. So that means we had to get there pretty early. Yeah.
Early wake up, kind of worth it though when you get to go do all the cool things, right?
Exactly.
You get all these interviews, which may or may not be fun, but then you're taking pictures and meeting all these cool people, and you get to see some guys from other teams too. I know that's kind of fun. But you enjoying this experience?
It's been super fun. Yeah, it's been super fun. It's been a cool experience. Different than anything I've ever done before, obviously, but it's just been a great time. Like the dancing on the video is fun. Getting interviewed for questions random that I don't see coming is fun too. So it's just been a good time.
Yeah, well, obviously everybody's very excited for this season with Coach Klein coming back. What's that adjustment been like for you and the guys to a new head coach, but a guy that's very familiar in Manhattan?
Yeah, no. I think everyone was super excited for him to come back. And it hasn't been that like crazy difference. I think there's a lot of new faces, and so that's been fun to get to know new people, have relationships, and just I always say one of the biggest things that is a difference is just the energy in the building. A lot of excitement around Manhattan, Wichita, Kansas, and I think people are just ready to go. So me too.
Yeah, with the guys you got with you here today, I mean, it's a solid group, right? But I want to talk about this defense. You and Rex Van Wy especially are two guys I'm very excited to talk to today. But not a lot of people, I don't feel like, are talking enough about you in the defense. So fill us in on how that's all gone, especially with Coach Peterson now.
Yep. So Coach JP has been great. He's brought in a bunch of new guys that are really going to add a lot of value to this defense. And I think we just fly around and have fun and play physical. And I'm just excited to get out there and show people what we can do, because right now, not a lot of people talk about us, but we're not worried about that. So we put in the work while people are doing their thing. And when it comes time to actually know who's who, I think we'll be in the conversation. So
what's maybe the biggest thing you've worked on this season? What are you trying to improve for this fall?
Yeah, I think the main things I've been working on is just kind of footwork stuff, man-to-man, and the post. being a dominant post defender is really valuable to a defense. And so I think that's one of the things that I've been honing in on. And Coach JJ, my position coach, has been phenomenal, just showing me where my weaknesses are and where I can get better, and challenging me to lead. And so I think I've been growing a lot, and I still have a lot of growing to do, but it's been good.
Awesome. And again, you're a Wichitan, and being a collegiate guy, I got to ask you about what that was like. What'd you learn in your time at collegiate, and you know, obviously got you here to
Hmm.
Kansas State. But what do you look back on that really helped you get to this level?
Yeah, I'm so thankful for Wichita and Wichita Collegiate, because it definitely got me to where I've been. One of the biggest learning points I think is just having to move from a public school to a private school is just about relationships. Um, how to build relationships with people are different than you.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's been huge, and so I think that I've been trying to take that into my leadership on K State, and maybe build relationships with people who I wouldn't normally talk to or things like that. But I think that's been huge for me. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you come into a college locker room, there's guys from literally everywhere, right? So you
Exactly.
got to be
Uh
able
huh.
to get out of your comfort zone and come together,
Yep.
right? That seems like a very important thing to learn, but a very valuable
Uh huh.
skill
For
set.
sure.
But for like on the field stuff, any kids that are watching this, back in Wichita that want to get to where you are today and have big goals like you do, what's a big piece of advice you'd give to those kids?
Yeah. I think growing up, one of the biggest things that my dad told me and my mom told me is just have big dreams and don't let anyone kind of tell you can't do something. I think that's a what I have a chip on my shoulder, being an underrated guy throughout my whole career, from little league all the way up until now. And so knowing that I feel like I know that I'm the best player on the field at all times, and knowing that I can play with anybody, and just having confidence. So knowing my goals and knowing how I'm gonna actually achieve those goals and actually put in the work to achieve those goals is the biggest thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wesley Fair, Kansas State Wildcat, joining us here. What is maybe the biggest thing you think that people need to know about K-State football this year? I mean, we talked about the new coaches and the new players on the defense, but if you gave us like one big thing we got to look out for this fall, what's it going to be?
Huh, that's a loaded question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was good.
Got to hit the hard hitters right where
Uh
media
huh.
day.
I think the biggest thing is that you're gonna be able to tell when watching us that we're having a good time and that we're having playing with a lot of energy. And I think when you play with a lot of energy, you're able to play well and you believe in what you're doing. And I think that's going to translate to wins. And I think that's going to translate to um, basically every aspect of this season. I think it's just going to be huge. So just playing with a lot of energy. But yeah.
Well, I've seen you have fun on the field
Uh
before. I
huh.
think what was it, TCU last year? You scored a touchdown on
Yeah.
defense, and
Uh huh.
a little bit of a penalty that
Maybe
happened
something
there. I
happened.
don't
I
know.
don't know
But
about.
can you take us to that moment? Because I know anytime a defensive guy scores, that's you got to have fun, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I kind of I laugh about it because my coaches were really upset in the moment.
You
They're
could say it. You
they're
could
really
say it.
upset in the moment, and after the game they didn't care as much. But it was funny. It happened so fast, right? And you're just in the moment. You black out and you throw the ball in the stands on accident, maybe, and you don't know what's happening, but you're just excited to actually be able to show up for your team and yeah. So, but yeah.
I remember that we were in that end zone. I was there with my fiance watching the game, and I as being like in Wichita, seeing you score, I
Uh
was
huh.
so excited,
Yeah.
and I just see the ball go flying,
Oh
and I was like,
yeah.
"Uh oh!" I know somebody's going to
Uh
tell
huh.
you about that, but
Yep.
it's in the past now. It can't hurt you,
Exactly.
right?
After the game, I was even like, "Oh, did we ever find that ball? Can I get that ball?" He's like, "That ball's gone. That ball's gone." I was like, "All right, it is what it
That's
is."
funny.
But
Well, being you mentioned your family in kind of teaching you to dream big. I got to meet your dad a couple of
hmm
weeks ago, and he's such a fun
yep.
guy to be around, and that personality is
hmm
infectious. I kind of see a
Yeah.
little bit of that
Yeah.
in you, but tell us a little bit more about your relationship with your family, your dad, and kind of how they help to push you, like you said, to dream big and be here.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the biggest and most important things that they've taught me is just how important my relationship with Jesus is, and my relationship, and that I know that I'm someone outside of football. When you rely and you depend and you put all your eggs on football, then if that something goes wrong, I have a bad game, a bad play, it's really gonna mess with me mentally. But knowing that I'm not just a football player, I'm a student. I graduated from Wichita. A lot of different things that characterize who I am, but I think that's one of the main things that they've instilled in me that I can then pass along to other people. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned the school. What are you studying? What are you kind of hoping to pursue like after football? Because I know you got a lot of football still ahead
Yeah,
of you.
a lot of
But
football.
what outside of football have you pursued in life?
Yeah, so this past semester I graduated with um, organizational management or strategic management in business, and so through the next college years, I'm going to be pursuing an MBA program, so that's exciting. And then post that, I want to just impact people and maybe start a business, maybe do something in business because that's where I think like a businessman. But yeah, just the main thing is impacting people and how can I build relationships with all different types of people from different backgrounds and kind of unite people. So yeah,
I love it. Wesley, congratulations on being here at Media Day is a big
thank you.
deal,
I
right?
appreciate
Like
that.
that's such a cool thing, and being a leader on this team. Congrats on where you've been so far, and excited to see where you go in the future, man. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the time.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. That's Wesley Fair, Kansas State Wildcat, former Wichita Collegiate Spartan as well. We are live at Big 12 Football Media Days, and it's brought to you, as always, by our friends at Four Seasons RV and Phil's Coins and Bullion. We'll be back with more right after this.
We continue the broadcast live from Big 12 Football Media Days in Frisco. I'm Pat Strathman, pleased to be joined by the former Mace Eagle going into his senior year at Kansas State. QB1 of the K-State Wildcats, Avery Johnson, joining us here in Frisco. Avery, good to see you. Can you believe this is senior year for Avery Johnson? Now, maybe that goes away because of the 5-and-5 rule, all that wonderful stuff. I don't think you really call anyone a freshman or sophomore anymore, but you're going into senior season. How crazy does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds crazy. But I mean, super blessed to be at K-State for another year. It's honestly a blessing in itself to be in Manhattan, and I'm super grateful. So
You told me that you're not getting tired of these. This is your third time coming down here. You sure you're not getting tired of these? You can say you can be. It's fair.
I'm not a big interview guy anyway, but I know it's part of the game. And I know I'm going to be doing interviews for probably a pretty long time. So it's better to just enjoy them. I think some people have a kind of their own swag of being able to make an interview kind of fun and interactive. So
sure.
I think sometimes you get kind of the same repetitive questions throughout the day.
Of course.
But I mean, it's just part of it, man. I'm kind of a vet to this.
Yeah, you're
now,
a vet.
So.
You're the leader. You're the guy that everyone turns to, which, you're used to that role. Last year, the type of season that you guys had certainly had its ups and downs. What'd you learn from last season that you can take into 2026 here for the K-State Wildcats?
I think that it's just so much of how much the details matter. And I think the things we were doing last spring and winter and summer had played such an impact, a direct role in why we were 6-6 in the season. And I think if you let little things slide in the off season and guys aren't all the way bought in and you don't put enough time and effort in to things and you think you're going to walk in to a place and win games and that people are going to hand anything to you, that's just not the nature of this sport. And that's not the nature of this league. I think we have a really competitive league and the margin of victory is so small. So I think we saw it last year and we came out on the back end of it. But I think the year before we won those one-score games, and that's why we had an opportunity to kind of be towards the end and even in the Big 12 championship race. So I think we had to do a better job of winning one-score games and starting faster this year.
What was the process like when the season ended and you're trying to figure out the future.
Yeah.
What was that like for Avery Johnson? How'd you go about handling that?
Yeah, first it's just like utter surprise. I mean, I think the whole like I was talking to coaches and players and stuff like that. Like everybody was just caught off guard about the retirement of Coach Kleiman, and I think it was going to be announced later in the week, but somehow somebody caught word of it and it was leaked. So started off in surprise, and then now it's just like kind of a waiting game. It's like, who are they going to hire? Who's they going to have to come in and replace? And I was just kind of waiting and feeling things out. And then they hired Coach Klein, and I thought that could have been no better hire. And after one conversation, I think is all it took. And I was just like, hey, if I come back here for my senior year, do you think we're going to be able to be competitive in this league? Do you think we can win the Big 12 championship, make the college football playoff, like all these things? Like I have one more season left. I have all these goals in my mind. And still haven't accomplished anything that I said I was going to accomplish when I came to K-State. Is that something you think we can do here? And Coach Klein, being the competitor that he is, told me, man, it's not going to be easy. He's never lied to me. He said, but I think we can do it here. But it's going to take you to get things started. And after that, it's just was trying to keep as many guys of our core guys that we had from last year a part of the team. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't want to be here, if you don't believe in K-State, if you're not going to be a part of our culture and what we're going to be about, then we're better off without you. And we'll find guys that want to be here and find guys that want to lay it all out on the line. And that's what Coach Klein went and recruited. And we got a great staff to coach us. And I think we have a bunch of guys bought in this year, and it should be fun to watch in the fall.
Well, I think what you just said there, isn't that Coach Klein to a T? Like, do you want to be a part of this or not?
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be a part of this, then okay, go do something else. I think that's refreshing. Sometimes you don't get that old school mentality nowadays. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
Well, I do want to ask you this. Coach Klein, you and him obviously have a close connection there. He ends up going to Texas A&M. Now he's back. He's the head coach. Is there a difference between Coach Klein, the offensive coordinator, the guy who recruited you, and the head coach? Is there any difference with Coach Klein?
I think you know the answer, and it's no. I mean, Coach Klein could be a GA, a fan, a coach, a dad, just a friend. Like Coach Klein is the same person through and through, and that's who makes him who he is. And I think everybody just has that type of respect for him and what he's accomplished as a player, what he's accomplished as a coach, and what he's going to accomplish in the future. And I think we're all bought into his plan, and we're ready to go lay it out all on the line for him this year.
Yeah, no doubt. Avery Johnson, QB1 of the K-State Wildcats, joining us here from Big 12 Football Media Days. All right, this is the final go-around. We've kind of talked about that, or potential final go-around. I'll just keep saying that because college athletics and the world that it is today, it's hard for me to put an actual class on you or how many years you got left because, honestly, you just have no idea anymore. So I'll just steer clear of that. But as you take a look at this offseason in spring ball, what have you seen from the offense? Since you're so used to this now, you certainly have new targets that you get a chance to work with and play around with. Guys coming in via the transfer portal. You have Jerron Tibbs who's coming back. You're used to some of those guys there with Lincoln Cure and Will Ancio. And, of course, Joe Jackson, who's a guy who was certainly a big weapon last year. As you take a look at the offense, what was it like in the spring ball season for this offense?
It was a lot of fun because I think you have opportunity to, kind of build that chemistry, get the timing down with the new wideouts we got in the portal. And I think we got a bunch of guys that do a bunch of different things. And that was kind of in the wide receiver room and the quarterback room this spring. It was like, okay, figuring out what type of body guys do we have, what type of body types, speed, or do we have bigger guys that can go get jump balls? We have guys that are going to run past people, and it's kind of figuring out each receiver and what they're the best at. And then as the quarterbacks, how can we give them balls that can showcase their abilities? If they're a speedster, you get them the ball in space, let them run by guys, put some air in their balls, let them adjust to it. If they're a jump ball guy, you give them a back shoulder, you put some air under it, you let them go and adjust the balls. And I think you throw to players and don't let plays dictate, things like that. And then Coach Klein calls plays to get guys balls in space. We have the deepest running back room I've had since I've been at K-State, and a bunch of offensive linemen that I think we're going to be able to have 7 or 8 interchangeable guys that will be able to play a bunch of snaps for us this year. So I think starting with the offensive line is we go as those guys go, and being able to run the ball and throw the ball is going to be super important for us this year because we're going to have to be able to take what the defense gives us. So I'm super excited to be able to line it up this fall and really showcase what this offense has talent-wise.
I did ask Coach Klein if you had a favorite target, and he said the open one. Is that true? Just whoever?
And I really couldn't care less. I think chemistry-wise, it would probably be Tibbs because I've thrown to Tibbs the longest. But this is what I tell all the receivers. I'm like, if you're getting open consistently, then you're going to get the ball. Like, I'm not going to look one way or the other because of anything. Like, I'm going to go through my reads. I'm going to throw the guy who's open. And if you show me that you're going to get open consistently, I might look your way a little bit longer. So I think guys have been doing a really good job in the spring of just kind of being able to take coaching and like, hey, tell me what I did wrong on that throw. Where would you like this ball? Or I can be able to say, hey, you're too deep on that route. Flatten this route off for me, or kind of get open. And that's just being able to have good conversation after throws that we might not have been on the same page about, so that when the fall comes around, we can kind of have all those kinks already out, and we can just go out there and ball.
You brought up how deep this running back room is. Joe Jackson, we saw what he was able to do against Utah. I was told that he ran into the former defensive coordinator of Utah in the back room, now the head coach. And I guess he was like, hey, I got nightmares. I got to walk away from you. And rightfully so. That was such an incredible game. But you also brought in a couple of other individuals as well. We all know about your capability of running. And talking with Coach Colin Klein, we all know about his background. But, of course, I told him it's all about balance. It's not about just you're going to run. But I'm sure you're probably envisioning what this rushing attack could be in 2026.
Yeah, and I think we have a bunch of ball carriers and even guys that we can just kind of get the ball into space, even at receiver, and let them, kind of go as extended run plays or whatever it might be. But like, I think you have Joe and Money coming back, and then you add in Jay and RJ. And I think we have four different backs that have four different skill sets and do four different things really well. And I think being able to utilize those backs and to their strengths, I think is going to be really exciting and fun to see how Coach Klein comes up with ideas to get everybody touches and be able to spread the love. And then you add me into the rushing attack. But I think it's super important to be able to run the ball, because running the ball only opens up the pass game. And I think the best teams in college football have to have a sustained run game and have to be able to run the ball consistently. So without a run game, we're going to be kind of up or going uphill all year. So I think we're not going to have that problem. And we have great offensive linemen to open up those holes and great backs to just be able to take the ball and go do their thing.
And then the one component to the rushing attack that's not theoretically part of the plan, but it could be a weapon, is the scramble ability. During the offseason, how do you go about working on that and kind of improving the feel? Because it's more so of a feel thing, right? When you're trying to scramble, more so than, well, I'm going to take off right now. I'm sure it's just more so just trying to get a good feel of how things are going to go for Avery Johnson.
Yeah, I feel like it's a natural instinct. And I think high school, coming into my first year of college, I had that natural instinct. And I think I kind of played into a narrative of being too much of a thrower the past 2 years and kind of took that instinct away from myself. And just this past spring, I think Coach Klein can attest to it. And anytime I scramble, he always says you can't go broke making a profit. And if you get a first downs are what keep drives alive. So there's never been a time where he has bashed on me for scrambling or said you scrambled too early or you got out of the pocket too early here, because it really is an instinct and a feel thing. And he's like, if I had something good drawn up and you scrambled and we got positive yards out of it, I'll call it again. But don't take your natural instinct away from the way you play the position, and really just go out there and be an athlete. Because I feel like when I'm relaxed and I'm playing like an athlete, I play a whole different version of football.
And you definitely took care of your body. Coach Klein said you had a pretty darn good winter. So I know that's the other aspect. It's, Avery Johnson getting hurt, that type of thing. But I'm sure you're probably not really thinking about that, honestly. But I'm assuming this past offseason, though, getting a chance to, again, put more weight on your body, the good weight, the good muscle, I'm sure it's, all right, here we go. Like, now I'm ready to run someone over, not necessarily going to just use my speed. Now I'm ready to run someone over. Maybe I'm not recommending that. I don't know. But I just figured I'd ask you about that, too, just how you feel, going into this season.
Yeah, I think we had an incredible strength staff. I think those guys really pushed me further than I thought I could be pushed, even in the weight room, and really made lifting and conditioning and stuff like that fun for me. And it's really just competing at the end of the day. If you have that mindset in anything you do, like, hey, I'm going to go compete in the weight room today and kind of make little goals or competitions with yourself, I think that makes a night and day difference. But football is a violent sport. It's a violent game. Injuries are going to happen. You never know when they're going to come, when they're not going to happen. So you kind of just got to play the game free. And I think being able to run the ball is kind of and run somebody over and stuff like that is just like never been my type of game. Even in high school, it was always just being faster, juking and running around.
That was never
guys.
your thing back in high school. Yeah.
But I think my dad says it a lot. My trainers say it a lot. Like, if you use gravity and you use force and you use speed and weight and all that different type of stuff, and you know how to use it the right way, delivering the blow and getting hit is two completely different things. So I think this offseason I've really been trying to do a really good job of, hey, how can you deliver the blow? How can you use your speed? How can you keep your feet running through a tackle so that, hey, whenever you are getting tackled and you do run into somebody, it's not always like, dang, I'm getting hit. I'm getting hit 15 times a game. Like, how can I deliver the blow to a defender, and how can I be more of a strength runner rather than not, and then just protecting myself whenever I can, not taking unnecessary hits, but understanding where the yard markers are and then getting the extra yard when I need to.
Where's the Avery Johnson strawberry lemonade? Where is this thing? I had that at the Wichita Open not too long ago because it's like, yes, I remember the first time I had a strawberry lemonade was over there at the Wichita Open. So in order to have a successful season this year, what has to happen? Loaded question, I know.
I think the biggest thing is we have to start fast, and we can't expect anything to be handed to us. I think we have to come in with a chip on our shoulder, that underdog mentality every game, no matter who we're coming up against. And then it has to be 60 minutes of fight, and we have to pay attention to all the details and can't look too far out ahead, and just got to take each week like a 1 week season, or each game like a 1 week season, and stack games, stack weeks. And I think by the time it's November and we're looking back, we'll be like, hey, we had something here that nobody believed in from the start, but all we need is the heads inside that facility, and I think we'll be just fine.
All right. Well, I do have some breaking news. Ryan Lackey staying right there. Just want to let you know, we ran the Honorary ESPYS program that we do every year. Avery Johnson was up for the ballot for the Division I Male Athlete of the Year, and Mr. Avery Johnson is the winner for Division I Male Athlete of the Year, courtesy of the Honorary ESPYS for ESPN Wichita. So congratulations. I want to break that news to you right here. What does it mean, I guess, to have that support from Wichita still?
I appreciate it. I mean, like, the support from Kansas as a state has just been great, and that's one of the main reasons why I love playing for Kansas State, and I love being here, is just all the support I have from all the cities in Kansas, and all the love. Maybe not in Lawrence.
Yeah, I was just saying, there's one
else.
city I think you would probably rule out, but
everywhere else. But no, it means a lot, and just to be recognized is a credit to everybody else around me. So I'm super blessed for it.
Well, I saw the look on Lackey's face. He's like, oh, what's going to happen here? Everything's good. Everything's fine, Lackey. You're okay. Avery, real pleasure, man. I'm glad we had a chance to do this once again. Third time you've been here. I'm sure you're getting sick and tired of it, but appreciate you, man. Congratulations again on the Honorary ESPY, and best of luck to you this upcoming season.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Welcome back here on 92.3 Preps. Jackson Schneider with you as always. Our 7th episode of our show. And again, a couple of great interviews on our show today. Avery Johnson, who you just heard from a little bit ago. And of course, Wesley Fair, 2 Wichita kids doing big things at Kansas State on the football field, and 2 representatives of the program. It's a big deal to get brought to Big 12 football media days. You're getting interviewed and photographed and videoed for hours and hours and hours and hours. And it is an exhausting but very cool honor for kids to do that. Avery Johnson's now been 3 times, but he did tell us, this is going to be his last time. He could potentially come back for a 5th year at Kansas State with the new rules at NCAA Division I. But he said no matter what, if he comes back or not, he will not be coming back to Big 12 football media days since he's now been 3 times. And that's a lot. It's a big commitment. It's a lot of questions. And as well as he did, I think he's earned a little bit of a break, from all the lights and cameras and microphones and guys like Pat bothering him for all the interviews and things. But really, really good stuff from them. And again, appreciate a couple other sponsors for helping us bring coverage of Big 12 Football Media Days. Phil's Coins and Bullion and Four Seasons RV. They do some amazing things, so check them out. And again, if you want to see some of the other interviews that Pat and I did at Big 12 Football Media Days, go to our ESPN Wichita YouTube page. Check those out. Already some of those numbers are blowing up with a lot of the interviews. But again, we talked to Lance Leipold, Colin Klein, 5 KU football players, 2 other K-State football players, other than what you heard today from Wesley Fair and Avery Johnson. We talked to K-State AD Gene Taylor, voice of the Wildcats Wyatt Thompson. We talked to, again, Willie Fritz, the head coach of Houston and a former Pitt State Gorilla. We talked to representatives from the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and so many other great people as well. So really, really cool, good stuff from Big 12 Football Media Days. And again, thank you to Phil's Coins and Bullion and Four Seasons RV for making that coverage possible. But that's going to pretty much wrap up our show today here on episode 7 of 92.3 Preps. Short turnaround for our next episode. You can look forward to in the coming days, some high school centric interviews right around our ESPYS especially. And we'll talk to some of our winners and Wichita natives that, again, we're honored with those honorary ESPYs thanks to your votes as our listener. So again, look forward to that. And again, you can follow us at ESPN Wichita on all our social medias to see when those new episodes drop. You can also go to our YouTube page. You can like and subscribe. It'll drop there with the video, so you can see my ugly face in every show, plus our great guests on video. But of course, you can listen at ESPNWichita.com and on the ESPN Wichita app. There's a high school sports tab. You click that, and all our shows will be there, and you can find it, past episodes, other interviews from High School Athlete of the Week things. We're going to archive more of our High School Game of the Week broadcasts coming this fall in that same tab, so it'll all be available. And again, you can also listen to 92.3 Preps on Spotify. So wherever you want, we got you. You can listen however, whenever, and as much as you want, hopefully a ton. But that's going to do it for our show today. Again, thank you as well to our sponsors of this show, Commerce Bank and AOA Now. Really appreciate them, again, for hopping on board and helping us really grow this thing. So appreciate their support and appreciate you, again, our listeners. We'll take a break and be back with more as my lights go out right after this.